Hey everybody, thank you for joining me today to provide for this video. I'm going to be doing another carrot video today. Yes, I did one the other day. I uploaded one the other day, so this will be another carrot video. The basics of this video is I'm basically going to sort of give, I'm sort of going to be explaining like why I necessarily believe that Luffy would be okay with Carrot still continuing to sail with the Straw Hats after Wano. So, I've given my own thoughts and reasons on like why I want Carrot to join the crew necessarily out of my own opinion, just like everyone else has. And I've also given sort of like a how and why reasons on like why I believe Carrot would sail with the Straw Hats based upon her own choice and decision. So I've given like my reasons exactly, and I've given like Carrot's reasonings and stuff like that by looking out like taking like inspiration from how Pedro had told her, or that it doesn't matter how you do it, just keep moving forward in order to get stronger. So you can take that as literally as Carrot deciding whether or not do I go back home to Zoe and continue to train around the same island I've been on training on my last 15 years of my life, or do I ask Luffy if I can sail with them and go on this adventure or and get as strong as they did on the open seas. And whatever comes down to it, I just think it just comes down to a basic decision where Carrot just has to decide what is her option. Now, look, there are other options as well. It's like that. Like, maybe the Straw Hats could always ask Carrot if she would just, like, continue sailing with them even further. Who knows? Maybe she'll say yes. Like, I would not have a problem with it if that's the way it goes. It would not bother me at all. Matter of fact, any Carrot fan out there who wants Carrot to join the crew would be okay with that as well if it gets Carrot to join the crew. I mean, it gets Carrot to join the crew, it gets Carrot to join the crew. But the basics of this video is to basically go over reasons on why I don't believe, well, it's more of like reasons to explain why I don't believe that Luffy would necessarily have a problem with it if Carrot would to join the crew and stuff like that. So that's basically what this is about. I'm also going to be adding like details on like describing like Carrot's backstory and trying to explain that and sort of giving an epithet or a reason for it to be clear. All right. So now I got that out of the way, let's get into the context of the video, okay, shall we? All right, so to basically sum up very clear and like that, for many popularities that Carrot has grown over the years, she has really acquired a fan base, and even to this day, even in Wano, during the Onigashima arc, when Carrot has basically been pushed to the backgrounds like that, and like we hardly ever see her in like every chapter. Like every once in a while, we'll see her in a chapter or where she might say something, but yet no real Carrot fan has given up hope that Carrot is going to definitely join the Straw Hat crew and stuff like that. None of them has given up hope. They still want it, and there are even Carrot fans out there who are okay with her joining the crew, or who kind of worry that because she's being pushed back to the side so much that that Oda isn't really wanting to focus on her or join the crew. But I feel like we can't give up hope just yet, and I feel like an opportunity or time will come that will give us this moment exactly. So we just gotta wait and hope for the best. Okay. So now why do I necessarily believe that Luffy would necessarily be okay with Carrot joining the crew? Well, let's put it this way and start off with like Carrot's reasonings to first coming with the Straw Hat crew exactly. So now there are two main reasons, particularly why Carrot actually snuck aboard the Sunny when the Straw Hats, well, particularly just Luffy, Nami, Chopper, Brook, all went to Whole Cake Island with Pedro and Peckham's to infiltrate Big Mom's territory and stuff like that. There are two main reasons and stuff like that. The one main reason that was stated is that Carrot basically stated that she's always been stuck on Zola all her life, and that all she wanted to go on was an adventure once in her life. She just wanted to go out there and explore the seas, just once. But another good reason to basically bring up is that Carrot herself also wanted to save Sanji. Right? She was very indebted to Sanji for cooking them a good meal and like that, and like she felt bad that she felt bad that these people came to help them. Like, well, they didn't exactly come to help them and stuff like that. It's not like it was necessarily planned. But the fact that Straw Hats, when they got there and stuff like that, they did not become enemies to them and stuff like that. Like the Minks had just suffered a terrible battle and loss and struggle when Jack had faced them, and and then when the Straw Hats arrived there and stuff like that, it was really to be really devastating to wonder if the Minks would even survive after that long battle with Jack and stuff like that. And find out there's even more trouble and stuff like that. But to find out that the Straw Hats actually just basically became like a really good helpful friends. It's like and for Carrot or any of the Minks in general, it was a very emotional thing, and it really makes sense to see that Carrot wanted to go out there and see the world, but at the same time she also went to Whole Cake Island with everyone else because she too wanted to help save Sanji. Right? That's also a reason to go clear for. Now, when Carrot had basically stated that she just wanted to go out there and adventure, or like she didn't necessarily mean to. It was just like she really wanted to go with everyone. She just really wanted to go out there and adventure. And when we got this statements like that, Luffy himself was perfectly okay with it. Like he did not mind at all. Like he didn't necessarily care. Now by that point they had already left the island of Zoe. Oh, it's like that. they have already left Zoe, and they were already sailing by that time, and I mean, I'm not exactly sure how far they were necessarily sailing exactly, but they must have already been out of sight or far away and stuff like that. But Pedro had requested Luffy to to turn the ship around so we could take care of home. But Luffy just said, hey, don't mind, all right, it's okay. She can come with us. It's fine. It's okay. Hey, as long as you can handle yourself, it's okay. Now, some people are probably thinking, well, there. If Luffy's basically telling Carrot, as long as you can handle and fight for yourself, you're on your own. Like, I don't think that's really supposed to be taken like that. I think it's just like Luffy just like basically asking us like that. Can you handle yourself on your own if you need to? It's just kind of like that and stuff like that. Like take for instance like Nami. Like Nami can't like handle like big people and stuff like that. Like big Yonko major people or like big super villains of the arc and stuff like that. But she can handle some pretty small people of certain standards when it comes to it. So Nami can handle herself in certain situations, just not in all situations. All right. So and Luffy's just basically asking that kind of question. As long as you can handle yourself in certain situations, it's perfectly fine. Now, because Luffy was okay with Carrot sending with on the crew, I can also see another good reason to point out and state that even after Wano, if Carrot joins the crew again, I don't think Luffy would necessarily mind it if Carrot still wanted to continue on even further and sail with the Straw Crew even longer. Sure. And some of my reasons for this is to basically the basic reason is for Pedro and stuff like that. So I'll start off with Pedro and stuff like that, and this Pedro contact is actually going to lead into Carrot's sort of backstory and stuff, and I'm going to sort of explain it as so keep in mind how I'm going to explain this, okay? Okay, so first I'll start with this. Now in the recent chapter, or not the one that's going to be released this coming week and stuff like that, but in the last chapter, or in 1045. So spoilers, if no one is caught up with the manga and stuff like that in One Piece chapter 1045, if 1045, then there's going to be spoilers for a little bit and stuff like that. But yeah, all right. So in chapter 1045, there was a panel when Luffy and Kaido were fighting each other. Okay, there was a panel when Luffy and Kaido were fighting each other, and Luffy was remembering some names and stuff like that. Right? He remembered, he was basically like thinking of some names and stuff like that. But the last name that he thought of was remembering Pedro and stuff like that. Okay, he basically said Pedro's name. Right? He said Momo, Tama, Kinemon, and Pedro and stuff like that. Now Pedro had gave his sacrifice for the Straw Hats when they were trying to escape from Whole Cake Island. In order to get the Strides to escape from Whole Cake Islands like that, Pedro had given his life to give the Strides an opportunity to escape. And when Luffy was basically thinking of Pedro, he was basically remembering that it was because Pedro's sacrifice that helped Luffy to actually get here and stuff like that. It's like Luffy knows full well that Pedro's sacrifice was not to be like Pedro's sacrifice meant everything, and it's like Pedro really had hoped and believed that Luffy and his crew are the ones to lead the dawn and stuff like that, and that even though Pedro's arc has nothing to do with Wano exactly, but because his sacrifice meant something so big in Whole Cake Island that led Luffy and his crew to be able to come to Wano in the first place, you can see that as a good inspiration to see why Luffy is remembering Pedro. Now, some people probably be asking, well, just because he's remembering Pedro, why does that state that Luffy wouldn't have any problems with Carrot joining the crew? And that's a good reason to state. Okay, so now this will sort of dive into the whole backstory part. Okay, so now the most heartful thing to experience, and the more heartful and the more tragic thing that came into it is for Carrot when she actually had to witness Pedro sacrifice himself and blow himself up. All right, and that is a really emotional thing for her to experience things like that. Now don't get me wrong, all the Straw Hats and stuff like that who were there, who saw that were very devastated and heartbroken by what had just happened. But for Carrot, it was on a different level and stuff like that, because like she basically grew up all her life being trained under Pedro. Pedro was basically her mentor, right? He was one of the very first people who really believed in her. Basically Minx, who really believed in her, who helped her out and basically showed her a different way to get stronger. It's like you don't always need to do it this way. There are other ways you can get stronger. You just got to keep trying, all right? Just keep moving forward, all right? And Pedro obviously didn't really want to plan this like that. He had always planned on not coming back exactly like that, okay? He never planned on coming back from the very beginning, right? And when Carrot came there and stuff like that, and came on the journey, he obviously did not want Carrot to be there, right? Especially Carrot, all right? And we see that the relationship between Pedro and Carrot meant a lot because Pedro was basically a mentor. He was one of the many people who actually believed in her, right? That's not to say that other Minks didn't believe in Carrot as well. No, they did. It's just for Pedro, it was more of a something special, especially when Pedro was the one who actually trained Carrot and basically gave her a confidence that was never suited before. Now, how exactly does this lead into like a backstory for Carrot? Now we all know how the Straw Hats sort of have like a sad backstories in a way. Now I should be absolutely clear and explain this before I move any further. Right, this is very important. Oda never actually officially stated that any Straw Hat has to have a sad backstory. Right, any character in One Piece, that doesn't matter, has some sort of sad backstory. Right, so, which is true, right? But that doesn't necessarily mean they have to join the crew because of a sad backstory, right? Oda never stated they have to have one. All right, now look, not every character in One Piece has a sad backstory, right? Not every character, right? But there are plenty of people who do, and they are not part of the Strike crew, okay? Now, I need to sort of explain how this backstory kind of works in general. Okay, now let's look at all the other Straw Hats, all right? Depending on the Straw Hat and depending on the sad backstory, some of them had some minor sad stories, and the other ones had more of a devastating, heartfelt breakthrough that literally might have shattered the if they basically shattered the to the point where they basically had to keep hiding or running all their lives until finally someone could reach out their hand and say, "Hey, do you just want to come with me?" Just basically just like Luffy and Luffy just basically reaching out his hand and is like you can come with me, all right? I will be a friend, all right? I will be that friend that you've been looking for all your life, right? And that's kind of what Luffy has always done. Now, so basically to sum this up, so let's put it this way: a lot of people basically state that Carrot's tragedy with Pedro's sacrifice can't be considered a sad backstory because it happened in present time. All right, now this is basically how to sum it up, right? And this is something that's really easy if a lot of people understand. Now, sure, a sad backstory is basically something that happened in past time, right? Something that's already happened and before. However, there is something to consider in how this goes. All right, take for instance the Straw Hats in general, right? Take for instance Nami, all right? When Nami saw Bellemere get shot by Arlong, that happened in present time, all right? Nami was there to witness that, all right? Now, sure, to us, the audience and the readers, it was a past moment, all right? It was basically something that happened in the past. But for Nami herself, the character Nami, it was a present time, all right? It was a present moment, all right? Nami experienced that in a present moment, all right? And she basically had to live through that all of her life, remembering that tragedy all the way up to basically when she was 18, or was it 18 or 19, when she met Luffy and Luffy managed to free her from Arlong and stuff like that. You can look at take for instance Robin, right? Robin's destruction of her homeland Ohara and stuff like that, when he got basically Buster called all and stuff like that and destroyed and her entire basically her entire friends and family on that island, or basically burned alive and stuff like that. That happened in present time, all right? Robin experienced that during her present time, and she basically had to go on and remember that all of her life, and keeping that tragedy in her heart and in her memories, in her heart, like throughout the years, and running from the government and issuing like a bounty on her, stuff like that. Take for instance Chopper, right? Chopper itself, right? Chopper has many connections with Carrot in this situation, just like Pedro gave his sacrifice by blowing himself up. Chopper himself had a very a mentor and stuff like that, a person he looked up to as well, with Dr. Hero Luck. Now, the interesting thing about Dr. Hero Luck and stuff like that is that he was already dying, right? He was diagnosed with a disease that could not be cured and stuff like that. And Chopper himself, he really came to believe in Dr. Hero Luck's skull and crossbones and stuff like that, because how pirates believe in the skull and crossbones and stuff like that. And Chopper, when he saw this mushroom that had the skull and crossbones on and stuff like that, Dr. Hero Luck took it, even though Chopper did not know the full standings of what had happened. As a matter of fact, when Dr. Goriel found out what Chopper had done, she just literally just decked him, just like smashed him and just bashed him across the wall. It's like, oh man, and that man, that was insane. But to continue on even further, after that, Dr. Hurlick, basically had sort of a moment in a talk where he basically sort of said when is it when a person actually dies, all right? And he basically stated, is it when they come down with the incurable disease? Does it happen when they eat a poison mushroom? And it's like, no, it's when they are forgotten, all right? And it's basically stating that as long as you are never forgotten, you never die, all right? As long as people remember you, you will never die, all right? It's kind of the same situation in Freddy vs. Jason movie. If for anyone who's seen it, it's like that at the beginning of the film, when the whole dialogue narration is going through and it's like that, Freddy's going through the whole dialogue narration, and he basically stated being dead wasn't a problem, but being forgotten, now that's I really don't want to say the B word and stuff like that, but he's basically said the B word. Right. But it's basically that, right? It's basically the same situation with the whole being forgotten. That's the problem, right? Okay, so after explaining that, now continuing further, Chopper was there to experience that, right? When Chopper experienced that, it was present time for him. Now, of course, years have passed, and it's basically gone through. Now, let's also look at Luffy, right? Now, there are a lot of Strats in generals like that, but I can't necessarily go over all their inside backstories like that. But Luffy will be the last one, all right? Now, Luffy himself, Luffy was there when he basically saw Ace die. And when Ace died, that was in present time, all right? And stuff. So we, the readers and the audiences, actually got to be there to experience a tragedy happen right in front of our eyes for one of the Straw Hats. And when all the Straw Hats basically found out what happened, particularly some of them really devastatedly wanting to get out of there where they were at in order to go save Luffy, because they knew deep down inside, after what they went through all their lives, after what happens like that, like even Nami, when Nami basically saw Bellemere shot behind her eyes, she understood full well the pain that Luffy was going through in this moment, and that Luffy really needed someone to help him out. And luckily Luffy at Marineford had plenty of people to help him out. He had Jinbei, Shanks had come to help out in the Marineford War and like that. So, Luffy had a lot of support. And the thing about Carrot is, even when Pedro had gave his sacrifice and stuff like that, Carrot had a lot of support in that moments like that. The Straw Hats knew the pain that she was going through because they themselves had basically experienced this. They've all experienced this in a way too, right? Some of them are a little bit different, right? But they've all experienced this moment and the pain in their heart, losing someone that they care about, right? It doesn't matter whether or not it was through sacrifice, through murder, or it doesn't matter how it was, right? Losing someone that you care about was very devastating, right? And for all the Straw Hats that were there, they really understood the pain that Carrot was going through. Even Luffy himself, right? Luffy knew very well that Carrot was emotional pain, all right? And when Carrot basically lashed out in anger and decided to attack Katakuri and take him head on. Now, unfortunately, Carrot was not able to stand up against Katakuri, all right? Katakuri wiped the floor with her. But in that moment, when Katakuri had carried down, Luffy did not hesitate to demand and tell Katakuri to get his foot off of Carrot immediately. Luffy did not hesitate to fight Katakuri head on. And after Luffy had basically managed to take Katakuri and pull him into the mirror world, thanks to Brule showing up in that moment. In that moment, Luffy basically told everyone, all the Straw Hats and stuff like that, to handle everything until he got back. Now, the interesting thing about this is that in that moment, Luffy also told Carrot the same thing. He even told Carrot, I trust to leave everything in your guys' hand. All right, I believe in you guys. And I think this really shows that in this moment, when Luffy's basically honoring and basically telling Carrot, I trust you to handle stuff until I get back. I think that really goes to show that Luffy would not necessarily mind if Carrot wanted to join the crew. Now, does that necessarily mean 100% that Carrot is going to join the crew? No. All right, that doesn't necessarily mean it 100%, but it does give confidence to state that if Carrot were to continue to join the crew, Luffy would not mind. Luffy would be perfectly okay with this, all right? I'm sorry about that noise you're hearing in the background. I do apologize for that. I really am. Now, some people will probably be thinking and wondering, it's like that. Well, that happened present time, right? And sure, you just stated all these backstories for the Straw Hats were they were all happening in the past. That's true, right? But let's take for instance Luffy's situation with Ace. Luffy got to experience that in present time, right? And even for us, the readers, that was present time. Now, 2 years have already gone by since that moment, right? 2 years have already gone by since that moment, and when Ace had died, right? That has already passed, so that has become a past moment. Let's take, for instance, Pedro. We got to experience Pedro's sacrifice in present time, just like Carrot, just like all the other Straw Hats got to witness their loss in present time. And it's already been like a good, what has it been, like 2 or 3 years now since Pedro had died. So, and even take for instance, this is even basically stated exactly the fact that you have both Carrot and Luffy remembering Pedro and stuff like that. Now, other minks have made remember Pedro too. It's not like they've forgotten him and stuff like that. But this is basically a Carrot video and stuff like that. And for Carrot, really trying to go up against Perospero or to avenge Pedro or for believing that for necessarily going after Perospero for Pedro's death, as blaming him. Carrot always basically never gave up and remembering Pedro and stuff like that. She always tried to remember Pedro, always remembering his words of confidence. And so keep moving forward, or doesn't matter how you do it, just keep moving forward, all right? And I think that's a really important thing to go over. So look, my initial reasonings in stating this is that I've given my reasons, stating why I want Carrot to join the crew. The fact that she has an interesting dynamic character, or she gets along with the Strike crew and stuff like that. She has a good dream to be able to. She has a good enough dream to see a reason why she wants to join the crew. Sure. Or does she have to have the biggest arc in this situation? Does she have to be an overstanding major character? No. But to give to basically have more of Carrot to come on a journey that would basically please everyone, right? And look, and look, be honest, one thing that a lot of One Piece fans want is that we need more girls on the ship, right? We would hope that at least we can get a couple more girls on the ship before the series is over. That's particularly why I really want Carrot, Yamato, and Vivi to join, be the final three strides to join the crew, to basically get that support. And who knows? We still have to wait to see what Oda's going to do, all right? We still have to wait to see what Oda's going to do. But overall, that's the main reason I've got. Like that's really all I got to basically explain that. So yeah, so that's basically my reasoning, right? It's like I don't think Luffy would necessarily mind if Carrot wanted to join the crew. Now keep in mind, does that necessarily mean that Carrot has to join the crew? No, it does not necessarily mean that, right? It just basically gives confidence to state that you can see that Luffy would not mind if Carrot still wanted to join the crew, right? And stuff. And I've said this before, that there's nothing wrong with asking Luffy to join the crew, right? Now, in the how and why thing, I basically explained that, like how Carrot would join the crew and stuff like that is basically for like how and why is basically to get stronger, right? All right, to basically ask Luffy if I can sail with you guys in order to get stronger, right? Now, the interesting thing about this is that Luffy might ask why, you probably state like Luffy, can I sail with you guys any further? Luffy might ask why, and in that moment, you basically have to give a statement, all right? You basically have to give a reasoning and stuff like that, a reason why you want to go with Luffy, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. So I imagine if someone can give a good enough reason to explain to Luffy why they want to sail with him, then I get the feeling that Luffy would not mind, as long as he felt like the reasonings or the statements was very understanding for him. Now, a lot of people necessarily believe that you can't join the crew unless Luffy asks you to, right? Now, while Luffy has asked people to join the crew and stuff like that, he's only asked them he's only asked them in general because they never showed interest or any point in actually joining the crew specifically, right? So Luffy always asked him because he wanted to join the crew, and he basically just had to wait for them to get their answer, and he also had to basically give his reasonings on why. It doesn't matter how it went. It doesn't matter if he basically had to sort of dive into sort of a narrative explanation, or if he basically had to show it by through some means. It doesn't matter how it was. Luffy sort of gave a statement, and they gave their answer, or when he did, like he basically asked them, "Hey, do you want to join my crew?" And some of them said no. Oh, and Luffy, he gave his statement, he gave his reasonings and stuff like that, and after that, they decided to say yes. So you can see a similar situation with this time someone just asking Luffy, "Hey, Luffy, do you mind if I come with you guys and sail on your journey?" And Luffy just basically asks like, "Well, why?" And if their statement or reasonings is good enough, then I can see Luffy just saying yes. It's perfectly fine, and there's nothing wrong with that, right? There's nothing wrong with anyone asking Luffy to join the crew, right? Like Oda's the one telling the story, right? And he can tell it however he wants, right? But we also gotta understand that Oda can do this in any direction he wants. So, and that's perfectly fine, right? That is perfectly fine, all right? So look, that's all I have for this video. That is basically it, all right? That is all for the video, all right? So thank you so much for thank you so much for joining me on this video. I really appreciated it. If you liked the video and you liked everything I explained in detail and gave my own thoughts and reasonings, feel free to smash that like button. Go ahead and leave a comment down below on your own thoughts and ideas, on what you believe exactly. I would love to hear other people's thoughts and opinions on the matter. And go ahead and hit the subscribe button and hit that notification bell. And one other thing I mentioned in my last video I made, that that I started my own Twitter thing and stuff like that. I'll have a link down. I'll basically have a link that will lead to my Twitter page and stuff like that. And on my Twitter page, I'll basically keep updates and stuff like that. I might mention I'll basically have details like a video that I'll probably be making and stuff like that. I'll basically give some certain thoughts and ideas. Give my overall thoughts and opinions on things. But yeah, so that is basically it. So thank you, and you all have a good day. Bye now.